in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, this is Steve Anderson with Work Camper News. We're broadcasting to you from the desert of the Quartzsite Valley here in Arizona today. And with me, who's going to be on the webinar presenting with us today also, is Mr. Terry Cooper, who happens to be in Kissimmee, Florida, on the opposite side of the country. So good morning, Mr. Cooper.
Well, good morning. I saw Mickey today.
You saw Mickey today, huh? Well, very good.
I know. There's no charge for that trivia.
Okay, a little Mickey Mouse activity out there. Well, if he was running around in the desert out here right now, guys, we woke up to and some of you, depending on where you are in the country, it's already 69 degrees here, but it was 42 degrees here in the desert this morning. And I will say to everyone listening out there, if you've not had the Quartzsite experience and you're an RVer or have a desire to be, this is one you need to have at least once in your lifetime. So with that said, let's jump into our topic today. We're here to talk about the Training Triad, and this is a course that Mr. Cooper and I have been producing now for roughly about the last year and a half, and we are moving into the 2015 training season for this. We thank you for joining us to gain some insight about this course, and believe that for many of you that are on the call today, this is going to be something that you really feel will be very beneficial to you to incorporate into your life. So as you see from this screen, there are three components to this training triad. And the training triad is developed to, number one, help the individual, you, become more of a master of your own RV. And you might not even own an RV yet. Many of our students have not, but it provided them with a great knowledge base to be able to purchase the correct RV and a good RV for themselves. And then you'll see that it also provides information and training for you to be of assistance to others, to actually function as a maintenance tech if you desire to, working in a resort or in a campground or something of that nature, or if nothing else, when you're in a campground, your neighbor's having problems with his water heater or whatever the case might be, for you to lend assistance and just to be a good Samaritan. And then the third thing is to develop your own RV inspection business. And folks, that's where a large percentage of the folks coming through the training triad have taken this training to that level, and many of them now are among the group of trained RV inspectors who have actually begun developing their RV inspection business. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as we move into this today. And I'm trying to keep my screen clean here, and you see, Mr. Cooper, I think my icons are back again. I'm going to go to a little cleaner format and see if this helps a little bit. We may lose a little bit of the lower part of the screen, but let's see how it goes. If it creates an issue, we'll come back to it. But it looks a little nicer, doesn't it, I believe? Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. So this is, as we said, an intro to the RV Maintenance Tech course, the Training Triad, and that's me on the left there. I'm Steve Anderson. I am the owner of Work Camper News and partner with Mr. Terry Cooper, who you see on the right there. Mr. Cooper is a master certified RVIA technician. And he has the wisdom from the standpoint of knowing how to teach people with a unique way to learn what I thought at first was some very sophisticated stuff. And what Cooper has shown me is that a lot of the things on these RVs you can learn. You know, a lot of people, they think, oh no, too hard for me. That's not true. I've seen some folks that really you would not have thought they could get into this, and they have learned the material and they're doing great with it. So that's who's going to be presenting to you today. And what I want to do is I'm going to cover a few of the things, and we'll turn quite a bit over to Mr. Cooper. But I want to share with you right up front here the three key reasons why you should be considering the Training Triad. And as we go through this today, we're going to be striking on each one of these. But the very first one is to improve your own skills so you can better take care of your own RV. If you're already an RV owner and you have had the experience of taking your RV to a dealership, you know what the experience can be when you go pick up the RV and it's time to pay the bill. It can hurt. And as Mr. Cooper is going to share with you, there's a lot of things through this Training Triad course that you're going to learn that's going to eliminate many of those visits to that RV dealer. The second reason is when you know more about your RV, you're going to be able to assist others and to market yourself to future employers as someone with RV maintenance skills. There are folks that I have some of our campers working the RV show here in Quartzsite with us that have been through this training, and they are testimonies to this. When I tell you they've gone through the training, they've learned these skills, and once the employer learned that they had this knowledge, it provided that employer the opportunity to have another resource for their guests who were having problems with their RVs to take care of those problems so their guests did not leave them. And thirdly, to develop your own RV inspection small business that you can operate from your RV while living the work camping lifestyle, or if you're still living the sticks and bricks. So that's the three things that we're going to cover today. And so, Mr. Cooper, if you want to take it from here for a little bit and let me rest my lungs, that would be great.
Okay. Folks, what has happened is that as Lady E and I travel, we have been on the road coming up on 3 years now. And what amazes me is how many folks that we encounter have purchased an RV or thinking about purchasing one, and they come up and they ask that question, what kind of RV should I buy? And what we find is that many times we don't know their lifestyle. We don't know anything about them. And so what we've been able to do is we ask a few questions and kind of guide them. But what I find typically is an individual who will do their homework will make a much better informed decision, but also will step aside and step around some issues that they might have normally stepped right in the middle of. And I say this in terms of when I talk to bankers, when I talk to different individuals and they tell me, people come in and they have this really rose-colored glasses on and all they know about these units, and I had a specific banker that called me. He said, I've got a woman sitting here, she's good for the money, we're gonna go ahead and fund her, but all she can tell me is it's got pretty curtains and she likes the floor plan. And he said, we don't know anything about it. And he said, she doesn't know anything about the unit either, doesn't know how to operate it. So what we have found is that the better that we educate our consumer, the longer they'll stay with us. Because what we know is that if an individual gets into the RVing experience and they buy their first RV, if they enjoy it, it works for them, it really becomes something that they enjoy doing, they will buy 7 in their lifetime. But we also know that if they don't have a good time on that first one, they punch out, they're gone. And they'll go buy something else, they'll go do some other lifestyle. And what's really a shame is that we in this industry have not always done a real good job about training our consumer how to use their unit, or even how to select the right unit. And that's been something I have really seen probably in the last 6 months. More and more boomers are coming to the marketplace, and this first RV is the big one. I mean, they may buy them a big motorhome, and they buy them a big fancy fifth wheel, and they decide they're going full hog. And so they jump into this thing, and then you look at them and you think, oh man, I wish we could have gotten to you before you bought that thing. Or, some of the problems you're having are things that if you'd have just known, you probably wouldn't have broke that item. And so with that being said, I want you to think in terms of the very first thing, the basic thing that you will learn in the Training Triad is how your unit works. Because it's so very critical that you know how it works and what goes on. So Mr. Anderson, if you'll move us on up, I'd like to look at this next slide because I think there's some things we need to share there on this one. Now, I've had some students that graduated from the college where I was training RV students. For 8 years, I had a program in Texas at one of the state-owned colleges, and we were actually training technicians for the dealerships. One of these students graduated, and he went to work for one of these extended service agreement companies that had a roadside assistance type program. And I got to talking to Ian, and I said, Ian, tell me what's going on. And he shared how they have a big call center in Irving, Texas. They take in all these calls. He said, we'll take calls from dealers for the manufacturers. He said, we'll take calls from individuals that are just traveling up down the highway. And so he began to list all of it. And I asked him, I said, Ian, what kind of issues are you seeing? He said, we track it. He said, we know exactly how many calls come in on a daily basis. We know how long we stayed on that call. But he said, we also track what the top 10 are. And I want you to notice, this is what he gave me right here. These are the top 10 things that they were seeing over and over again on these RVs. And he said, Mr. Cooper, I will tell you, one of the best classes that I've ever taken when we were doing the courses there in Waco with you was the electrical, because he said what we run into over and over again, of these top 10, he said it's usually some sort of electrical system. And he said, as you know, and we've talked about many, many times in class, there's 3 electrical systems in every RV. He said that if people will just understand how these electrical systems are and how they're separate from each other, but yet they have such a major impact on the different components. He said a lot of the problems that these people are having wouldn't be a problem if they just knew what they were looking at and knew what was going on. He said we deal with so many trip circuit breakers, blown fuses, and he said sometimes just trying to find the component where it's located so we can coach them through, where to find the problem. He said, when you start looking at these leveling systems, and he said, depending on the manufacturer, they may put it in one place on one model and put it someplace on another. He said, but if these people just knew what they had, a lot of the calls that we get would not be a call because they go right to it, take care of it, be done with it, and be on their way. And so keep that in mind. If you're looking at maybe jumping out there and going into this experience, you need to think about the unit that you're looking at or the units that you're kind of observing and say, well, I like that floor plan, I like this. Well, you need to also learn how this unit works. And so keep that in mind because it's a critical thing that way you can be successful right out the gate when you get out here and start doing the RVing experience. Okay? If you'll move us, Mr. Anderson. Now, this is one of my rules, and it's really become my mantra. 80% of the problems we have with our RVs are things that we can fix. I mean, they're easy to access and easy to fix. And I've had people challenge me on it, and after a while when they come to class and we sit down and talk and we go through it, it's amazing how many of the problems that we have with these RVs are simple things. And all you have to do is open a cabinet door, a panel, reset the circuit breaker, when I was running a mobile service out in North Dakota, we would dispatch, and we charged a dispatch fee of $165, and then a 1-hour minimum at $125. And so we would knock on somebody's door and go in, and they would be in a panic mode because things were not happening. And many, many, many times it was all just a matter of finding the circuit breakers, turning it off, and turning it back on, and all of a sudden their problem disappeared. And they paid us a dispatch fee and that 1-hour minimum just to go out there and spend less than 15 seconds finding the electrical panel box, resetting the circuit breaker, or resetting the GFCI panel, or the receptacle either the bathroom or the kitchen. And it's amazing, and people just stroke that check, or they give you that credit card, and you just think to yourself, it didn't have to be this way. They wouldn't have had to gotten themselves all riled up and all in a knot because they thought they were having major issues when it was really something very simple. I mean, whether it's water heaters, electrical panels, furnaces, all of these things have items simple things that we can do, simple things that we can access, that we can fix and take care of ourselves. And so I want you to keep that in mind as you're stepping into this industry, whether you're a seasoned veteran or you're somebody who's relatively new to it. Here's an opportunity for you to take your skills and your knowledge and do something to help yourself, but also to help others as well. Okay, Mr. Anderson? It feels awkward not to have control of the mouse to move the slides, let me tell you.
I know, and forgive me because it's really being slow out here in Arizona for some reason. Okay, well, I guess this is where I pick up, Mr. Cooper. The second key reason students sign up for the Training Triad is to learn more about how they can help others with their knowledge. And I want you to think about maybe an experience that you have had. If you're already an RVer, maybe you've had an experience with your RV where you're having a difficulty and a neighbor comes over who happens to have a little more knowledge than you do, and possibly they were able to assist you. And just think about being able to put yourself in that position. Folks, this is the ability for you, number one, to feel good about yourself as an RVer, but also to be able to share and help others. And one thing that happens with this that we're finding is that when a resort owner or a campground owner finds out that you have these skills, and we're even encouraging and helping our work campers through Work Camper News by advertising in our Situations Wanted ads, folks that have this training, we're even highlighting them to our employers to let them know that they've been through this training, and if they come to work for you, you hire them. You're bringing someone into your organization for your season that's going to be even more beneficial to your customers. And so it gives you a marketable commodity that you'll be able to share with a future employer if you so desire. You don't have to. We've got many of our folks who have simply said, I like the ability to have this knowledge so I can give back to the industry that I love and to help other people. That's a great feeling, folks. And that aspect alone is a very positive thing. Joe Carpenter, I've been spending some time with Joe this week. He's actually here working our booth here at the Courtside RV show. He's a graduate of our Canton, Texas course that we did this past March in 2014. And he was just barely out of that course, and he was still marketing himself for a summer position, his first work camping experience actually after retiring. And once that employer found out he was a graduate of that course, he latched on to Joe, and Joe's been sharing with me as we've been having conversation this week about all the different aspects of the people that he was able to help, to be able to take care of issues that would have they literally got to the campground to have an experience with their family, and because of an issue that was taking place, their concept was, we've got to go home. And because of the knowledge he had that he gained from this course, he was able to save those families' experience. They were able to stay. He was able to take care of the problem for them. They were able to stay and have the weekend experience or the week experience that they were going to have in that resort. And it's great to see. In Joe's case, when he's sharing the stories, his face just lights up. You can tell that it produces, Coop, what I call a warm fuzzy. You can see it as he's sharing about it, but also the fact that he helped so many people because of his knowledge base that he gained from this course over this past summer, and he's looking forward to another experience this coming summer. So the third key reason students sign up is that we want to encourage them to get involved in this RV inspection concept, because many students we have that have come through this triad are developing and building their own business, and they're operating a small business as an inspector, and they're either doing it independently or they're working with one of the organized companies that is taking on contractors. So we're going to spend some time talking about that. And Mr. Cooper, you know James quite a bit more than I do. You want to share a little bit about James DePizia?
Guys, you would like this guy. He, you know how you meet people and you know that they're trying to do something to better themselves? Well, James is a Swan truck driver. You know, the guys that go around to your home delivering food product. And he came to me and he said, look, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the interaction with the people, but he said, I want to prepare myself and my family to where we can go full time. And at the time, I believe he was just living in a travel trailer. And I think since that time, he's bought him a fifth wheel, but he's probably, if you want to talk about the poster child, this guy has been the poster child, because he started doing inspections, and he would tell me, he said, Mr. Cooper, you keep bringing them on, because he said, I put my cards out at the campgrounds, and he said, anything you've got, you can send my way. He said, I make more on a Saturday, Sunday doing inspections than I make all week long driving that truck. He said, so, hey, my wife is all for it, so listen. When you get these jobs in there, don't forget, here I am. And so James has, I mean, he's into this thing. And the thing is he gets it, because he sees what's happening sometimes with some of these inspections that he goes and looks at. He said many times these people just need a second opinion. They just want somebody who's unbiased, doesn't have and we're going to use the term, don't have a dog in this fight. But he said they need somebody to come in and look at it. And he said, I feel very good when I leave and I put my report together and I turn it over to these people, and that way they know exactly what they're buying. He said, yeah, we've run into some situations where some of the inspections showed some things that, well, they weren't real pretty. But he said, at least now the customer can make a decision. Either one, they're going to say, I like what I see, we're going to go ahead and buy it. Or two, okay, we see the problems, but you know what, we can live with that, or as long as we know about it, we can get that issue resolved. Or three, they can walk away. And so as long as you have options, and that's what James was talking about, as long as the customer feels like they have options, then what we've done is we've provided a service for that customer where they know that what they're getting is the unit that they thought they needed.
Well, Mr. Cooper, as you well know, there's over 10 million RVs out there on the road in North America. And that number is growing. That's probably a pretty conservative number after the year the industry has had this past year of 2014 with its biggest year ever. And as we did our due diligence, folks, in building this whole concept, we found out that over 60% of the used RVs that are out there being sold are sold privately. There's no dealer involvement at all. It's actually more like 65%. Now what that means is you have no one with a knowledge base from the technical standpoint other than the owner of the RV providing input for that buyer. And if you think about that, 60 to 65% of 10 million plus RVs, with a fair percentage of those being traded or sold every single year, opens up an opportunity for inspections like you wouldn't believe. And the reason for this need, I think Mr. Cooper can do a better job of explaining with, this is a picture of him doing a remodel on a refrigerator, if I recall.
Well, let me just say, it wasn't real nice around our house about that. We had a unit that was less than 6 months old, and Lady E had to leave because she said she just couldn't take it. To see that refrigerator laying on the living room floor with us jerking the rear coils off because they had failed. But let me just tell you, when you look at these big four-door refrigerators that we've got in some of these units, you're talking $4,000, $4,500 for them. And you just think, how much for that refrigerator? That's what they cost. And to replace the coils, we usually figure about half. And so sometimes, if we buy this thing, we think, oh man, I've got a cream puff here, and then you get out there and you turn everything on, and you get to where you think, okay, we're going to have a really nice experience, and you turn that refrigerator on and it doesn't work. All of a sudden, what was a sweetheart deal may have been, all of a sudden now it's that lemon or it's that albatross hanging around your neck. I mean, when you look at air conditioners, today's market, about $1,200 to pop and swap an air conditioner, because the thing about these RV air conditioners, they don't have service ports like our brick and stick house air conditioners have. So when they fail, they fail. And like when that compressor lays down on you, there's no just putting a new compressor in. What you end up having to do is pull the air conditioner off, put another one up there, and go at it again. But at $1,200, and so if you buy an RV and this thing, you find out you've got an air conditioner that's not working, all of a sudden, you probably squeezed a little bit to get this thing. You probably pulled a little bit more money out of your reserve than you normally wanted to, but you wanted this deal because you really liked it, and then all of a sudden you find out you're fixing to drop another $1,200 on it. All of a sudden it goes from oh, I really enjoy this, to where I don't. And I always tell people, sometimes buying an RV is like buying a pair of shoes that you really, really like the looks of them. But when you put your feet in there and they hurt your feet, so then what you end up doing is you put those shoes in that closet, and every time you open that closet door and you see those shoes, it makes you mad. And so that's what happens sometimes with these RVs, is that if we don't know what we're getting, we don't know what we're looking at, or haven't had someone else look at it, all of a sudden every time we see it out there in the driveway or in the storage facility, it makes us mad because we know that we didn't get the deal we thought we were going to get.
Well, that particular reason that you just expressed, Mr. Cooper, is the need for a professional inspection to be done. And the need for professional RV inspectors, folks, it's growing as more and more of these used RVs are being sold. This is an industry that literally did not exist up until about 2 years ago. And because of the push that Mr. Cooper and I have developed to develop this industry, we're bringing it to the forefront. And yes, there have been people doing inspections at dealerships and so on, but not to the level that really needed to be done. And so as you see Dave here doing an inspection on this water heater, as well as Sue, who is doing an inspection on this generator. There's opportunities out there for literally hundreds and thousands of individuals to cover the needs of what this industry has. And as we show you right here on the screen, and it's not just guys that are getting involved in this. We've had a lot of gals come through our Training Triad, and we have a number of gals who have got involved in developing their RV inspection business and are moving forward. So please don't think this is just a guy thing, because it's not. And what has happened is, as we looked at this challenge to develop the numbers of inspectors that are needed across the country, and folks, it's a daunting number when you really look at it, because the need is so great. The challenge to develop the volume of RV inspectors, what we did was we have built programs working through the National RV Inspectors Association, and they are endorsing the programs that we're going to be sharing with you here in just a moment. That's key around this Training Triad. So please understand that the development of this national inspection concept, it's being overseen, and actually we have set criteria of ethics, standards of practice. All of those types of things have been set by the National RV Inspectors Association, of which we are working towards developing training that will meet the needs of the inspectors that are going to be certified through this organization. And what I have in front of you there now is the NRVIA options that are available to become a certified RV inspector. We actually have 3 different options, and I'm going to break each one of these down for you. So it's not just one way to do this. We wanted to make sure that you had some options that gave you, depending on where you're coming from as far as your background, your knowledge, your experience, your training, that would allow you to take the very best option available to you. The very first training option is for someone who's more of an experienced RVer and RV technician. And Coop, it might be good for you to jump on this one a little bit. You're the one that's really trained those technicians in the past and so on. You might be able to share some wisdom on this one.
You know, what happens so many times is we get into an industry, we develop some skills, and we think, okay, what else can I do with these? But by the same token, though, when you come in to get some sort of credentialing, they need to know, what do you know? What can you bring to the table? And so rather than ask an experienced RVer who has a lot of knowledge, or an RV technician, what we ask them to do is say, look, we need you to go over and take the e-learning class, the online program. And what we've done is we've set it up in little modules. Typically they're no more than 6 to 8 minutes long. And then there's a little quiz at the end of it. So that way you can kind of track your way through. And then that way you can take the knowledge you have, parlay it into this, and kind of fast track through. Now, with that being said, this program that you're looking at here, the NRVIA program that they have, that $4.99, what that does is that covers the cost of the course as well as your first-year membership and to become an inspector. We sat down and we talked about with NRVIA and say, okay, how do we make this thing to where it appeals to people, but yet they also know that there's some credentials, because we don't want to be like the home inspection business. Because unfortunately, when they first started doing a lot of training for their home inspectors, there wasn't any consistency in the credentials, the code of ethics, and the standards of practice. And it got so bad that we had certain situations in states that some of the attorney generals had to step in because there was such inconsistency. So when we sit down and talk to the attorneys, we talk to some of the home inspectors, everything they kept telling us was, look, everybody needs to know what the rules are. Everybody needs to be playing by those same rules, and everybody adheres to them. So that way, the reports are consistent across the board for every consumer that gets the inspection. So if you take the e-learning, then it's something you can pace your way through. Most people are zipping through that thing. If they just work on the evenings, we're finding that usually it's about 20 hours is about what it's taken them to go through it. When they finish, then they can take the 2 exams. There's one that's basically a knowledge exam. It's 100 questions, I believe, 125 questions. And then we have the Code of Ethics. Now, the Code of Ethics is an open exam. The knowledge exam is also open note, open book, because we want to make sure that you understand what you're getting yourself into, what you're working with. Okay, Mr. Anderson? Then, okay, so now that you've got your e-learning, you've got your certification, and you've got your, you've got your credentials. Now what we need to do is we want to set you up to where you'll be successful. There's nothing more frustrating than you get involved with something, and then after you finish with it, you say, okay, what do I do now? What we've done is we have put together a 5-day advanced class. Now this class is going to show you how to go out and scope an RV from top to bottom, outside to inside. And once you scope it, you go through it, and then we take you and we sit down with you and show you how to use the software. NRVIA has developed software that you bring in your inspection material, you bring in photos, make your comments, so that way when you push the PDF print button, what happens is you create a report for that client that gives them a summary sheet, gives them an overview, shows them the full categories, life safety, major concerns, minor issues, and items worth mentioning. All of those things in that report for this client. Now, with that in mind, just realize what we're doing here is we're taking you by the hand and showing you. You may have been a super tech in a shop someplace, or you may have been a very experienced RVer, but now we're going to show you some new skills that you're going to need to develop, and that's why we take 5 days and take you through it. And it's a hands-on. It's not just sitting in a classroom, but it's hands-on, because that's how most of us learn anyway. And so by giving you the opportunity to get out there, get your hands on it, you own that information. And then when you come out of that class, you can go one of two ways. You can go out and start your own inspection business, and we have some folks, that's exactly what they want to do. They're in there, some of them are fixed locations. We have some that are traveling as work campers. And then we have some others that will say, no, you know, I'm traveling so much, I would like to have somebody help me stir up business, help me bring things together while I'm out stirring it up, then also have this national company can send business to me. So there's 2 different venues that you can go out once you have completed your 5-day hands-on inspector training class.
All right, Mr. Cooper, some of the folks might be saying, well, what happened to the Training Triad? Well, option 2 and option 3 is where the Training Triad fits in. And that first option is the one for someone, if you happen to be that trained technician or someone who's very experienced and feels you have the knowledge base that you wouldn't need to have the basic training, then that would be for you. But the majority of you on this presentation today are going to fit either into option 2 or option 3. And for option 2, this one we laid out this way. As you'll see, it says this is for the less experienced person who can learn online and who desires to take more time in their business development. So the very first part of this is signing up for the Training Triad, and prior to actually doing the live 5-day course at one of our locations we'll talk about here in a few minutes, you go online. You actually go through the e-learning course, and as Mr. Cooper alluded to earlier, it's about 20 hours is what average we're seeing the individual is taking to go through this online training course. And the course provides the training as well as quizzes and then the final certification exams for both the knowledge base and also the ethics portion of developing your credentials. So the $1,644 tuition provides you the Training Triad, which includes the NRVIA membership and the e-learning capability before you ever come to the 5-day course. And you say, well, what's going to happen then when I get to the Training Triad live course? What's going to happen is you're going to have a certified master technician, Mr. Cooper, who's going to bring what you have learned to even a higher plane of understanding, because you're going to see, you're going to hear, you're going to have hands-on activity. You will be actually utilizing either yours or others' RVs that are in the campground at the facility where we're having the training, and they become laboratories literally of learning. And so you'll be working with and learning from other people as well as from Mr. Cooper during this 5-day training course. And then you're still going to then take that 5-day course that Mr. Cooper was talking about. It's the 5-day hands-on advanced inspector training course. This is where you learn how to actually do the inspection, go through the scope sheets, doing the actual inspection, the process, the procedure. You learn about risk management and learn how to develop that final product that that client has ordered from you, and then make the determination of whether you desire to do your own thing, develop your own business, or to contract with a national company. When you add all of those up, the total cost for this training, and this is where we see the majority of our folks going and have in the past, is going to be right at $27.89. Now that's option 2. Really the only difference between option 2 and option 3 that I'm going to put up right now, this is for the person who doesn't desire to do the e-learning course ahead of time. So what's going to happen is you may sign up for the Training Triad course and you say, okay, I'm just going to wait and do it all during the training course. That's fine also. You will have that option, and that means you will actually take the testing during the week of training. During the Triad course, the knowledge exam will take place at the end of the week. During the week, you will actually self-study, and you will take the ethics exam online. So by the end of the week, you will have certified yourself with the NRVIA as a certified inspector. And then we're going to encourage you then to register for one of the 5-day courses, just as we talked about in the other 2 options, where you go in and you learn how to do the inspection and be ready to get yourself out there and function as an inspector. The cost is the same for either option 2 or 3.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Anderson? Could we back up one slide, please?
I can sure do that. Mm-hmm.
One thing that we have learned in these last 18 months that we've been doing these classes, the individuals that came through the Training Triad, the first course, sometimes we call it the basic training, those individuals, if they went into an advanced training, they were more successful. I've seen several individuals come in and come out of that Training Triad, that basic, had their credentials, but they struggled a little bit because they kind of had to figure more things out. And what we have found is that if you'll come and spend time in an advanced class with some others, with a little more direction with another instructor, doing the scoping, showing you exactly what you need to be looking for, we find that individuals more successful. Let me tell you, it can be intimidating when you do your very first inspection for a customer. Even though you have done 2 what we call mock inspections when you go through the advanced class, it's still something about doing this in front of a customer and knowing you're being paid for it, knowing that you're being expected to deliver the goods. And what we've found is that intensity level, that stress level is so much further down, so less if you go in and take the advanced class. And what we've tried to do is to keep these programs affordable so that way you can come in, get them done, get what you need, get out and go to work. Because let's face it, we're doing this for one reason only, is to further ourselves, help others around us, but something to make our lives more profitable and make our life more fulfilling. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at these 2 different courses. One being the Training Triad 5-day. That is your basic. That will get you your credentials that you need, no problem. But most people don't have the true skill that they need to be able to scope a unit, to know where to look, what to look, how to write it up, how to handle the software. And so I'm going to encourage you to take a look at both of these courses. And the beautiful thing about it is you can pay for each one of them as you get there. It's not something you have to lump together and pay for it all at one time, but you can do it a little at a time so that way it fits your budget. Now, ladies, I'm going to be very candid with you. We have a major shortage of lady inspectors. And what is driving this is that I hear over and over from ladies that are looking to purchase RVs. There's a little bit sometimes an intimidation, whether they're at a visiting with a gentleman who's selling the RV, or maybe looking at it at a dealership. And what we're finding is that ladies like to have ladies do the inspection because there's some sort of camaraderie. So keep that in mind. You have a competitive edge because we're seeing more singles doing this RVing experience. Why not put yourself in a position where you can help yourself buy the unit that you want and you know what you're buying, but also you can help others buy the unit that they're going to be buying. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this program to see how it fits into your budget and into your lifestyle.
All right. Hopefully, Mr. Cooper, we have shared with the folks that the NRVIA membership is a key component in becoming an RV inspector. And you can register your membership at any time at nrvia.org. That's nrvia.org. That's the address for the internet where you will find NRVIA. And the Training Triad, which is the course of our subject today, this course is being offered in multiple locations across the United States beginning February through December. We're finishing up, as I finish the Quartzsite show tomorrow. I'll be traveling to Florida to connect up with Mr. Cooper over there in the Eustis, Florida area, and we begin the first of 20 Training Triad courses that will be offered between now and December of this year. And so we're going to encourage you to consider one of these courses, and whether it be for just your own knowledge to learn how to take care of your own RV, or to be able to market yourself as a technician at a resort or a campground, or just to help your fellow person, your fellow RVer in need, or even better yet, to take it that third step and become an RV inspector and to develop a business that literally can provide you benefits of income but also tax savings and the ability to have some deductions living the RV lifestyle that you cannot take right now if you have not done this. So we're going to encourage you to consider signing up for the Training Triad at rvtechcourse.com, rvtechcourse.com. Here are the locations that we are going to be at, and actually, folks, it took 2 pages, so give me just a moment here, but you're going to see that we're in Florida, beginning in February. Then we move to Texas. So we're going to be back out here in the west, California and Arizona, and California, and up the coast to Oregon. Then we're going to have just a little bit of a break when we migrate back to the northeast. We'll be in Indiana, Illinois, Indiana. We've still got some locations we're working on to confirm, but we're going to be in the Pennsylvania area. And then we'll be back to Arkansas, which we actually do one of these Training Triads right before the Work Camper News event that we have in October there, the Rendezvous. And then we will be in Texas again in November and back to Florida. So we kind of do a roundabout in the country. Now, if you happen to be in Montana or somewhere like that, you might be saying, why aren't you coming up there? Well, we are hitting locations for a number of reasons. We have done the courses in these locations. We know facilities work well. They are also in a little higher population areas. So yes, you might be in a lower population area and you might have to travel a little bit further to get to you. But we've had many people do that, and we can tell you this. They will all tell you it was worth the effort and it was worth the time to come and be with us. Here's the fees. We've broken it down so that for the Training Triad, it's $1,644. And you can break that if you desire, either into 3 payments if you wish, and do it that way. We just ask that the course be paid for before you take the course. You could do 3 payments of $594 and do that over a 3-month basis, or just do a payment of $1,644 and get it taken care of. It includes the bonus of the NRVIA first year membership fee. And if you desire, you can sign up as an NRVIA member, and then we will reduce that $1,644 by the $499 if you desire. This fee includes the course materials that we'll provide to you. It does not include housing, camping, and tools that you will need. So you'll have that additional costs. We're going to encourage you to bring your RV if you have one. And that means you'll have travel costs, you'll have camping costs while you're there, etc. So please understand that. So to register your seat for the course, you go to rvtechcourse.com and get your seat registered. Want to throw anything in here before I move on, Mr. Coop?
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, let me. We've had some questions pop up on the screen, and these individuals, I've got Jerry and Richard that have sent in some email or sent in some notes, and honestly, they're asking the exact same question, folks. If you have already signed up on RV Tech course, yes, you are able to go right now. While you're waiting for your class to start, you certainly are able to go into NRVIA and begin your work. What I'm going to ask you to do is to reach out to Robin at the office so she can get you taken care of, because she'll have to give you a password. But folks, this is exactly what we need you to do. Gives you a jump start. So, Mr. Anderson, what address do we want to send them to get a hold of Robin?
You would ask me that off the cuff.
I didn't want to give the bad information, so I was hoping maybe you.
Um,
I think what we call the 800-628-1455,
yeah,
is that correct?
you could have them do that or email. And I believe the address, the best one would be rshort, R-S-H-O-R-T, at nrvia.com.
.org.
I'm sorry, correct, .org, yes.
Okay. So R short stands for Robin, short, S-H-O-R-T, at nrvia.org. And like I say, guys, or anyone else that's signed up that's here, or anyone that's listening to this later, if you're waiting for your course, there is absolutely no problem with you going ahead and getting a jump start. As a matter of fact, what will happen is when you come and do your hands-on portion with us, you'll find that you're more comfortable. And isn't it amazing how you read something and you come back a little later and you read it again, how you pick up something new? That's what we find. So jump in, go ahead and get started on it, and that gives you a chance. Now, let me also say that if you're still looking at this thing thinking, well, I just don't know if I want to do this, go over to nrvia.org and sign up for a free course. What I've got there is a free course on electrical systems, because I want you to see what you'd be getting involved with. You know how it is sometimes you just, like when you go down to the ice cream shop and they give you that little small spoon so you get a little sample, a little taste of it? That's what we're doing here. So sign up. If you're still thinking, well, I just don't know, hey, no harm, no foul. Go ahead and take it, take a look at it, and see if it really tweaks your interest in something, because you're going to be surprised what you're going to learn. And then at that point, if you want to go a step deeper, you can go ahead and sign up either with the full Training Triad with the RV Tech course, or you can just go ahead and go through the e-learning. Now, that will kind of start the process for you. But I've just found that sometimes we just need to get a little taste of it before we move on to the next one. But Jerry and Richard, please understand, absolutely, while you're waiting for your classes to start, you certainly can take the NRVIA class and get started on it.
Yeah, Mr. Cooper, they could also call the toll-free number, which you mentioned just a second ago, which is 855-472-9948, and that will also get them to Robin. And she is in the office Monday through Friday, and so they can reach out to her either by the email address or by that phone number to get that activated. That'd be great. Okay, let's see where we are here. You might want to take this one if you would like to, the Training Triad, 5-day hands-on training, what it involves.
Okay. When we sit down to design this, I had to step back and look at this thing from a perspective of, okay, we have 5 days, and we're going to jam-pack this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just tell you up front, you're going to be tired, I promise you. And it's a standing joke that we have with everybody about Wednesday or Thursday. We start seeing people kind of wilting, and because we've had them up since about 7 o'clock. Because Mr. Anderson takes you from 7 to about 9:15, and he works with you on showing you some things that you can do to help design your business. He's going to take you through it, because you'd be surprised how many people maybe have a college degree but have never really been taught how to operate a business, because that's not what they teach us in college. And so here's an opportunity for you to be able to travel, live the experience of living on the road and being an RVer, but he's going to show you how you can write off these expenses and how you can take care of that. And then we'll pick you up about 9:15 or so, and then we'll run usually till 5, maybe as late as 6. And what we do is we start in the morning and we do the in class, send you out to lunch.
Mr. Cooper, we're losing you, so I don't know if maybe we
then
got some...
we do the hands-on portion, because what I find is we can talk about it, we think when we get our hands on it, it makes sense.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Well,
Yeah.
I hope we haven't been loading up the system here. So, but the electrical is going to be the first thing that you're going to go over. Can you go ahead? Would you mind picking it up for me then?
You're coming back strong now, so jump back in.
Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Okay. We'll start with the 3 electrical system. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Welcome to technology, right? Do you want, Mr. Anderson, do you want to go ahead and run with this?
No, you're fine right now. It seems to be strong again.
Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't know we were having a problem with it. But hey, welcome to technology, right? Then we're going to do propane systems. You would be surprised how many units we'll have come in these classes that people have a propane leak and didn't even know it. Because I'm going to show you how to do a propane leak test. That way we don't violate any state or federal laws by doing this test. Because it's very, very critical that when you're doing inspections for people, for your customers, that you not cause problems or get yourself in a bind. But I'm going to show you how to do a leak test. Then we're going to get into the water systems, the fresh water, the sewer. And most of you that have been involved in the RV experience have a pretty good handle on it, but there's some things I want to show you there. Then we're going to get into the appliances, things to look for, the top 10 problems that you're going to encounter with these RVs, whether it be refrigerators, air conditioners, water heaters, or furnaces. And then we're going to look at the exterior.
Lost him again.
The side walls. These are the things that are critical, because we have to realize these RVs, we're moving them up down the road. We'll cause these seals and then we're going to inspect for you when you get ready to do your 5-day hands-on learning, doing your scoping and software learning. But I want to make sure that you have a grasp, a good solid grasp of what's going on in this class, so that way when you step away, whether you just came to learn how your unit operates, or you're going to work in a campground helping somebody do maintenance, or you're doing inspection, you've got a good solid grasp of the technical that you need to be able to take care of things.
All right, I think we hung in there.
Are we still online, Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, I'm still alive. We hung in there. We only lost you in and out a couple of times, so got some heavy bandwidth going on with the mouse back there in Florida, it sounds like right now. So what's going to happen, folks, is as you finish this course, the Training Triad graduates who desire to move forward in developing their RV inspection business, they're going to be taking the Code of Ethics, the knowledge exam, and all of that either during the week, or you will have done that before you come to the course, and you will be awarded as a little bonus to our graduates this hat that says you are a certified RV inspector. And we started doing this just a few months ago, and we're finding, Mr. Cooper, that as we travel the country, these people are wearing these hats as bonnets of honor, as what I've noticed. And it seems like every time I turn around, I'm running into someone that has one of these on. So it's a very nice thing. Just to share a little bit with these folks what we've heard from some of our graduates. This is Mark Henning. Mark Henning was just here with us here in Quartzsite, working with us here at the RV show, and he shared a lot this week. Didn't have time to put it into this presentation, but he's been RVing. He's been camping for 9 years as a full-timer, but he's been RVing for 30 years. And he felt, and I remember him at the very beginning, he says, I think I know a lot about RVs. But when he was done, he says, I didn't have a clue about how much little I really knew until he went through this course. And I know in him sharing with me this past week the things that he was able to do and to take care of with his own RV as well as to be able to do for others, and now he's become an active RV inspector. He is tooting the horn loudly, Mr. Cooper, as far as the benefits of going through this course. And one other graduate we'll share with our folks is, this is Bill Froelich, and Bill, he was blown away literally by how much I did not know as he got into this. Just learning so much of the safety items, as far as he was concerned, made such a difference. And many of you have seen some of the stories, maybe of late, of some of the terrible disasters that have happened with people being killed in RVs from the standpoint of fires and the various things that have taken place. And a lot of those things do not need to happen if the equipment is functioning correctly. And life safety issues is key. And that's one of the things that our inspectors learn a lot about as they're going through the process of learning to become an RV inspector, but also through the steps of doing the inspection and testing the various components and so on to make sure that they work. So, Mr. Cooper, we're kind of at that point in our presentation where we can maybe take some questions if folks have it. We've been at it now right at about an hour. The irony is I'm sitting here in Quartzsite in the rig doing this with you guys. A Swan man just drove by. Mr. Cooper, in his truck. I kind of wonder if it was James out there, but I think he's too far from Texas.
Okay. Well, let's see. Looking at the Q&A, we had Jerry ask another question. He said, when will you be offering the 5-day advanced inspector class? Jerry, what we do is that we do these classes, the Triad, and then we schedule within 2 to 3 weeks right behind another advanced class. So that way, if you want to roll right into it, you can. And we have just found that seems to be the most successful way to get it done. Now, if it turns out that you're not able to make it in one of those classes, there is a venue that's been established for you, and we'll talk about that in the class. But, you know, we hate to load you up with so much information on the front end, but we want you to be aware of that there's different steps to help you be successful. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here, is get you through the basic, the training triad, and then give you an opportunity to do the advanced. So, now let's see. Kevin asked a question. He said, would I be considered a certified tech after 5 days hands-on? Kevin, I want to make sure that we're talking the same terminology. We're talking about a certified RV inspector in this 5 days. And so if you come to take the basic, yes, you will have the credentials. But if you've ever taken a course, and so, okay, you have the credentials, but many, many times you need to go with the hands-on. You need to go get the experience, and that's what we try to do with that 5-day advanced class for you. So yes, after 5 days, whether you come and do the triad or you do the online and you pass the certification questions that have to be done from the technical and the code of ethics, yes, you have the credentials, but it's kind of like there's still more. We want to make sure we give you an opportunity to get your hands on it. Now, if you're looking at maybe becoming a certified RV technician to work at a dealership or something like that, let me share with you what's happening. Because of all the training that we do and because of such need for certified technicians working at dealerships and so on, we have, in many of our classes, we will have technicians that were working on a shop room floor that their dealership sent them to us. So they'll be sitting in a classroom with you many times learning the same material. But I will tell you that to be able to take you through in 5 days to turn you into a certified tech, that is just, no, we can't do that. Because RVIA and the RV Dealers Association have a very rigid program that they have designed, and they've done it purposely to where get you in there, get you some skills, get you some hands-on, get you tested, and they have 3 exams that you have to take in order to become an RVIA, RVDA certified technician. Now, what we find is that most of the people that come through these programs, whether they be a technician working at a dealership, was picking up the skills and knowledge to help give them that foundation, because there's a lot of folks working in the RV industry that are struggling because they don't have a good foundation. And so they use this course many times to give them that foundation. So I hope that answers the question. And Kevin, if you want to talk more about it, just reach out to Robin, and it's rshort@nrvia.org, and she can forward information on to me. I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. But like I say, just want to make sure that you understand that, you know, we're talking here of being a certified RV inspector or a campground maintenance tech. Okay. All righty. Let's see if we had any other questions, Mr. Anderson. It looks like, hey, I've got good news. Bob said he could hear both of us just fine. So, welcome to technology, right? All right. Let's see if we had anybody else come in. I'm having to scroll down here on our menu board. Had a good turnout today. Folks, I'm very pleased to see some of the questions have come in, some of you that are here. And like I said, those of you that have already signed up, please do get a hold of Robin if you want to take the e-learning portion of it, so that way you can get a jump start on it. Or if you want to wait till your class starts, well, hey, we'll take you from there. But either way, I strongly want to encourage you to take a look at doing the advanced, because those individuals that have done that seem to have greater success in getting their business going. So we want to make sure that you're successful as soon as possible, because, hey, that's the whole purpose of what we're trying to do here, is be successful to help ourselves and help others. All right, Mr. Anderson, that's all I had.
All right. Well, folks, we want to thank you for joining us today. And again, this has been a presentation about the Training Triad to master your own RV, as well as be able to possibly work as an RV maintenance tech, working in a campground, a resort, etc., or ultimately becoming your own small business individual, becoming an RV inspector. So, Mr. Cooper and I would like to thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to meeting you in person at one of the upcoming courses that we're going to have in 2015. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Richard, we'll see you in Destin. Bye-bye now.